Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and selamat petang. Welcome back to my channel. Gitu kan? Ala-ala YouTuber gitu kan? Okay, so let's continue our tutorial. Just now I have demonstrated to you how to code simple linear regression using Python. So now I will be demonstrating to you how to code multiple linear regression using Python. So please go ahead and create a new notebook and name it. For this tutorial, I will be naming my notebook as multiple linear regression and rename. Okay, as usual, we need to, I have to bring this little guy out. I guess this one out already. Okay. As usual, before we start, we need to import all the libraries, all the necessary libraries. Okay, for this example, I will be importing, For this example, I will be importing the usual library that we use, in which NumPy, and rename it as a NP. I'll also be importing pandas as PD. Okay. For this exercise, I will not be importing matplotlib because I will not be showing you any plot whatsoever because you guys are expert on that already. Oh, sorry. That's PD. So once you import, just go ahead and execute. Once that finished, moving on, we want to import the dataset. What is going on? Import dataset. So in this example, I will be naming my dataset as ds1, and then pd, we call back the pandas library, pd.read underscore csv. This we read CSV because our data in CSV form. Let's say you have a data in text form. Please, by all means, change the extension here. Excel form, change your extension here. So, in this example, I will be using MLR numeric. And the data should be available to you via this video. And then, let's print the dataset. Okay, so MLR numeric consists of 4 variables in which we have the SNP department, the amount of SNP department has spent, the amount of admin department has spent, and also the amount of the spending by operational department. So these 3 variables, all of them are multi-linear. And based on the spend from these 3 departments, we would determine the amount of profit that we can gain. So in this case, this is a multiple linear regression because we have multiple variables, and these multiple variables are related to each other to predict the profits. If we have only operational department and also profit, therefore that one considered as a simple linear regression. Okay. After that, I want to split the data into X and also Y. So please go ahead and declare your X equal to ds1.I log square bracket. So here we want to call all the rows all the way until the last column. Until the last column of the data dot values. As for y equal to ds1. Okay. ds1.I log. Okay. Same thing goes here. We want all the rows and okay. Let's see. We have 4 variables. This one in Python, S&P department denotes for index 0, admin department denotes for 0. Index 1, operational department denotes for index 2, and profit for index 3. So profit is our Y. So profit is in index 3. So we put here as a 3. Dot values. Let's execute that, and so far we don't have any problem. And please go ahead and print the X and the Y if you want. X and Y. Oopsie. Print X and Y. Okay, if you want, just go ahead. If you don't want, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now the next step is we want to split the data into training and testing set. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go to my simple linear regression coding, the one that I wrote earlier, and I'm just going to copy my code here. Copy and paste it here. Oh, paste it here. So we split the data into training and test. To split the data into training and testing, what we need to do is that we need to call the sklearn library. So from sklearn library, we call model selection sub-library. Under model selection sub-library, we want to import function train test split. And then go ahead, declare your x train x test, y train y test, and call the function train test split. Call back your data, and then you have to determine the test size. So in this example, I want to split the data into 75-25. Okay? Meaning that 75% of this data will be splitting into training, and another 25% of the data will be splitting into testing. And the method of selecting splitting the training and testing will be at random. Once you're done, go ahead and execute. Okay. After that, I want to fit the MLR model into this data. What I'm going to do now is I will copy this code that I wrote earlier from simple linear regression and paste it here. And of course, I'm going to change this one. Fitting MLR into training set. So what I'm going to do is that still the same thing applies here. We want to call from sklearn library. Now we want to call sub-library linear models. Under sub-library linear models, I want to import linear regression. And then when it's done, I assign my regressor equal to linear regression. So what happened is a linear regression function here will be assigned in my regressor variable, the one that I've created. And then we call regressor.fit because we want to fit the data into MLR. We call it as X train and Y train. I'm going to say this. You want to fit the data into training set first. Let's say you didn't assign this one as X train, Y train. Rather than you assign this part into X train and Y train, you assign it into Y and X. Also, it works. But what is the prediction here? Okay, you get what I mean. Then, once it's done, go ahead and execute. Okay. All right, moving on. Now, go ahead and we want to predict the result for the test set. So this data has already fit into training. Now we want to predict the test set. So what I'm going to do now is I will copy the code that I wrote earlier from simple linear regression and paste it here. Okay. So we want to predict the X test. We already have the Y, but now we want to predict the Y for X. So we call it as X pred regressor dot predict. This one is predict. This one is a fit. It's two different things. and we call the part that we want to predict in which X test. Go ahead and execute. Et voila. So now I'm going to print the Y pred all together with the Y test. What's going on? Oh yes, okay. So what happened is this is the value that the model has successfully predicted, and this is the value that the model has. As we can see that the model are able to predict kind of successfully though. The variance of each of the value is not that much, but we do not know details until we come out with the accuracy accuracy table, in which we will do it later. So that's all for multiple linear regression tutorial using Python. I will be seeing you in the next video, and stay tuned. Bye.